Welcome, everyone. My name is Erik Roth, shamanic astrologer, and I'm here to talk about a new online course that I'm doing at the end of November. It's called the Pathseeker Mars online course, and it is about knowing one's path, but it's through Mars that we can know part of our path. We can know how it operates in our shamanic journey through life, especially in regards with the other planets. This is an astrology initiation course and the first of several that I will be moving into and working with. And hopefully I invite those who are interested in learning astrology in an entirely new way. There's a strong spiritual component to this, an initiatory component to this, and obviously an astrological component to this. So we're going to be following Mars through the sky. And there will be a lot of things that I can bring into this through the paradigm of shamanic astrology. So I'm really excited about bringing this forward, sharing about this. I was recently inspired by an experience I had in Arizona, along with some conversations with some colleagues and friends about Mars and what it represents. And seeing Mars in the sky in Arizona back in September really inspired me to bring this forward and to talk about this and how it can inspire all of you, maybe, and perhaps even giving you a deeper understanding of your own inner masculine, along with what Mars also represents is that kind of that actional flavor in our lives. But there's many, many other things that I'll go into here, and I'm going to share about what you will receive as well, and what this, additionally, what this course is about. So, knowing your Mars and your inner masculine is a big bullet point there. This is, again, it's, for those that are interested in astrology, certainly this is for you, especially if you want to learn a sort of a alternative and different look at what Mars is in our lives, the sky, and our personal spiritual journey. Absolutely. This is Mars as it transits through the sky. It does something very unique, and that no other planet does when we see it through the night sky, including at its opposition point and how fast it moves through all the constellations relative to the outer planets. And unlike Venus or Mercury, Mars can get into opposition with the sun, and you can see it more often, if you will, away from the sun than you can with Venus or Mercury. So Mars has this sort of unique expression of it, and as quickly as it moves, and again, relative to, say, planets like Jupiter or Saturn. Understanding how Mars supports our life purpose. So in shamanic astrology, the ascendant, Jupiter, the North Node, the midheaven, these angles and these points represent and connect us to our life purpose. But what is Mars' role in this, and how does it express itself? Well, this is something I'm going to be sharing much more about in this online course. And then we're going to be revealing the underlying story of Mars. Sometimes I call it the understory of Mars in astrology. And this includes the mythology. This includes how the ancients viewed it, prior to the rise, even prior to the rise of the patriarchal patrilineal cultures. And then how Mars with Venus has played a role in shaping the modern image of relationships. So this is also something that's we're going to talk about in this course, where Mars and Venus will be coming into a near conjunction, a close, within about 5 degrees of each other by the summertime. And that's going to be, the course stretches into the midsummer. So we're going to be discussing this Mars and Venus portion of the course. Okay, so there are 6 primary classes. The first one is November 29th. The path begins at Mars acronychal rise. That's class number 1. And then the other 5 classes, January, February, May, July, and then there's one in August. Now, some of those, we're looking at this like, wow, there's a lot of time in between these classes. Well, in actuality, we've got some in between discussions. We could call them classes of a sort, but they're a little less formal than these primary classes. And they're going to help kind of glue that together, but also introduce other things into this. There's a lot of material that you're going to be able to connect into beyond just this 6-part online course series. And the reason it's spread out so far is because we're following Mars in the sky. And Mars is in the beginning of this journey. It kind of takes its time, and obviously a lot of material there in the beginning, but then as it moves from constellation to constellation, sign to sign, that's going to uncover even more. So there may even be another formal class that we may do in the early to midsummer. It depends on how much material we get through in the first 3 or 4 classes here. A spiritual experience with Mars. So astrologically, Mars has long been looked at as something negative in our lives. So traditional astrology tends to be judgmental with the planets and the signs, and in particular, Mars and Saturn and Pluto were looked at as something fairly negative. But journeying with Mars in the sky is quite different. In this class, we will get to experience the meditative journeys in each of those 6 main classes with Mars as it transits across the evening sky and through the constellations. Mars is about action as well as the masculine, but can come in through the spirit and the action of consideration with instinct. So it's not just about conquering of our challenges and obstacles, but about really seeing why they are there and what they represent. This class is a deep dive into the astrological, spiritual, and experiential parts of Mars, uncovering the mysteries of the planet and its highly unique way of traveling in the sky and within ourselves. So we want to go back to this particular one because the way these titles of these classes are done a bit poetically, and as well as identifying like the area of the sky. So class 2, for example, is seen ahead by where we've been. This is in reference to Mars retrograde and going through the area of the sky and the sign of Gemini. The gates of duality, which represent to some degree duality is connected to the sign of Gemini, but it's also a part of this particular constellation called the Twins, which throughout history has been looked at as like this duality, this 2-part with Castor and Pollux, the 2 stars there. Then later, Mars gets into the constellation of the Crab, and that's what it's called, the nest and the fiery spirit. So getting into that, and then of course the Lion right after that fiery spirit. Class 5, the Dream of Earth with Venus and Mars. So I may do a particular separate class just about Venus and Mars in this course. So I want to be a little flexible in what's coming up here and kind of go with the flow of things organically. I call it the Dream of Earth because it's connecting into the constellations that we get into beyond the Crab and the Lion, and that's the Priestess. So we can look at that and connect into that space ourselves as we go through. Again, Mars is going to be visible throughout the entire evening for the first part of this journey, and then be visible in the evening sky all the way until we get into even late September. Now, this course ends in August, and then we're going to be doing separate shorter courses after that, and that'll be a separate sign up for that. And so if you love what you're experiencing with this course, there will be future ones, and I will also be looking at these the other planets and how they connect to Mars during this course, but also the other planets in their own individual courses, or maybe say like with Vesta and other planets that may have, and asteroids that may have their own, that I might want to share a few classes about. So this is a course that is a deep dive into what Mars represents, but it's not just going to be only about Mars and to the exclusion of all the other planets. And obviously Venus is going to be playing a big role towards the end of this course, but we're also going to be looking at these other planets like Neptune, which is a big part of this early part of Mars's journey through the sky. So that's something we'll bring in the early part, and then we'll be looking at the Mercury. We'll be looking at Jupiter and Saturn, for example, some of these other ones that may play a big role in the way as Mars is journeying through here, and the pattern that it weaves across the sky. So there's going to be some bonus astrology knowledge. This comes in the form of these in-between discussion meetings, at least 5 of them, to enhance your insights on a deeper level. It will include bringing in the other planets and stars and how they contribute to the Mars transit across the sky. We also look at the current time and various impacts of the planetary transits in the world. So it's kind of like a check-in to what's going on in the world and what the astrology aspects are happening. So there's going to be a lot more like pure astrological discussion in that, but along with like what is the current time, what's happening here. And then Daniel Giammario will also be a guest appearance and make a guest appearance in this in 1 or 2 of these discussion groups towards either the middle and to end of this online course. So there's going to be other information that will be shared from other insights from, beyond just me, of course. And I hope to invite in a couple other people as part of these discussion groups. Again, these are the ones that are going to be where there's not going to be like a formal class setting. Now, all of this on this screen here and what I've shared with you is on my page. That we're, the registration page where you sign up for the course and the description of the course and what you receive after you sign up for the course as we get into the course and beyond. So there's already 2 pre-recorded foundational videos about this Mars cycle that I've got when you first sign up. Of course, I mentioned the 6 live online classes that are going to be 90+ minutes. And I want to emphasize this, it's not necessary to attend these live. So if the times aren't working out for you, if you've got other things going on and can't make it, that's okay. They're going to be recorded and you can listen and watch it sometime after. And there'll be, of course, breaks in between the classes. But each primary class will have its own Mars exercise to deepen your understanding of Mars. So each person will get an exercise to work on to connect with Mars, not only in the sky, but within, within themselves. 5 informal discussion gatherings online. Again, at least 5. There could be more, maybe 6 at most, or maybe 7, depending on what's going on. Topics centered about Mars, but expanded beyond the primary journey. And with Daniel Giammario on probably 1 or 2 of the discussion gatherings, or maybe 1 or 2 other guests I invite in. Everyone will get a copy of their natal chart before the first class, along with a customized Mars chart, which I'm calling your personal Mars story. So I'm working actually at the time of this recording, I'm actually working on that for those who have already signed up. A reference guide to help you understand where in the Mars cycle you were born. So there's this other guide. So even with me not describing in the class, there's a particular PDF that you can look at that helps you determine what phase of the Mars cycle you were born into. And there'll be a general summary of the Mars synodic cycle and what Mars means in shamanic astrology. And each of the 6 classes will include a short meditative journey. I also want to just mention here that much of this is based on the shamanic astrology paradigm version of what the Mars synodic cycle is, and a deeper dive into that as well. So Daniel Giammario created that originally back in the 1990s. And so this is a deeper dive and deeper look at this. And we are going to be working with, each of these Mars phases, or at least in this case, the first two phases of Mars in this particular online course, and explore that in depth. So this is, you're welcome to contact me for any questions about this and as we go forward. But there'll be a link to this course below here on the YouTube description of this video. So this is just a brief preview of what the Mars cycle is. The current synodic cycle, why we're starting it at this point, is that it will currently, the old one that's winding down is going to end on December 7th. And the new one always begins right at the time the old one ends. So it's like a double moment here. So the next overstory of Mars is December 7th, 2022. And Mars has been in the sign of Gemini since August. This is giving us a preview of what this Mars synodic cycle or overstory is about. So we're connecting into that already as a society, as humanity, and each of us personally may be having some things going on with Mars transits. So a Mars synodic cycle roughly lasts about 25 to 26 months, on average 780 days. And so that's why we're breaking this particular course up. We've got this first part, which is the longer part of the course, and then we've got other pieces, shorter courses that make up even greater overarching course that represents the entire synodic cycle of Mars. So this course goes from late November all the way to August, and then we'll bring in potentially a new one that deals with Mars in when it's hidden in the glare of the sun. So Mars is in the evening sky, very visible right now at the time of this recording of November 9th, 2022. So check into that. And if you're listening to this, watching this, and the course has already started, you definitely have time to connect into it. Signing up before, say, January would be a good time, or maybe in the middle part of January, still early on in the course. So, the registration will still be open for that. And I would welcome anyone that wants to join in. It may not be able to join in until a little bit later, maybe after the first class starts. That's okay. And again, all the classes and discussion groups are going to be recorded, so you won't have to really worry about this. Now, for those that are new to the Mars cycle experience, that are taking this and like, oh, what is all of this? Well, this slide here is giving you just a really brief look at this. And when you sign up, you get some major details about what this particular synodic cycle is, or in particular to this planet, Mars. And then, we'll explore this specific synodic cycle or initiation of Mars, from November all the way through August there. So thank you all for watching. If you like this, please click like and subscribe to my video, my YouTube channel. I'd appreciate it. It helps goes into support me to create more, not only online courses, but sharing about astrological aspects and transits and things on my YouTube channel. So I'm excited to do more of those episodes of the Signs, Planets, and Stellar Rhythms series that I've been doing. But I also do astrology readings, classes, as we can see, events, astrocartography. You can contact me on spiralnexus@gmail.com. My website's in spiralnexus.com. And Daniel Giamaro's website is shamanicastrology.com. It's now turningoftheages.com. So just when you click on Shamanic Astrology, it'll redirect you to that. But mystaralchemy.com is where I'm doing a current online course with Kaylin Castell about the zodiacal constellations. That's been another area that's been inspiring me as well. So feel free to jump in and connect into it if you wanted to learn more about the stars and the planets and the signs and what they all mean in our lives, mythologically, symbolically, spiritually, astrologically. connect into that space. This is what I've got going on, Kaylin, and this the shamanic astrology paradigm as well. So feel free to send me a connection. Again, there will be a link to register below at the bottom of this video, the description. So I look forward to seeing you at the class. Thank you all.